10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
Drag racing fans, what is going on? It is Slam and Sam. It is Tuesday night. It is Competition Plus Power Hour, and it kicks off right now. Hello to you and all that are out there. Comment, like, subscribe. Let us know where you're tuning in from. Let us know where you want to chit chat and what you want to chit chat about in drag racing. What a weekend it was for all those who have watched, who got to go down to Vegas and see what happened down there. Congratulations to our winners. But yeah, man, so much to talk about in drag racing, so much going on in drag racing, and what our sport that we love is still doing and still thriving on. Yeah, so much to talk about. You're right, Antron pulled it off. A lot of people didn't think it could happen, but he did pull it off. So congratulations to Antron Brown and his crew, and to all the winners. We will be talking to double winners here tonight as our show continues. I'm waiting for my buddy Lee to get back. He had to run and do something really quick, but we're going to talk to him about some things. But there is one thing that I think we can all agree on. There was a statement that I'm going to call it the second shot that was heard around the world by none only than the 16-time champ himself. But I do want to wait for Lee to get on to chit chat about that. But just so much in drag racing. So again, if you haven't done it already, like, comment, subscribe. Let us know where you're tuning in from. Share this. Let your uncle, your brother, your cousin, your sister, and whoever else might be near you or far away from you, let them know and share this to the Competition Plus Power Hour. But yes, I'm waiting for you guys to comment and let us know what you are most excited about. What part of Louisiana? Louisiana. Morning from Sydney, Australia. That is a place on my bucket list that I do want to go and see. Go and visit there. Sydney, Australia, and like New Zealand are like a couple places that I do want to go. But yes, let's keep rolling it in, talking about drag racing. Want to know what the biggest upset for you guys this weekend was? I know when Lee jumps on here, I know I'm gonna have to tell my biggest upset, and I think most of you guys know what that was, as I always vote and put my money on red down in Vegas, and that did not happen. So I don't want to say it's weird to see, but it's very, very different. But I am excited about that.
Well, there's a lot to be excited about because it was a great weekend in Las Vegas for the NHRA four-wide nationals. Upsets all across the board. I know you mentioned that upset, Erica getting beat. What about Steve Graham getting past round one? Speaking of pro stock, there, Slam and Sam.
I mean, I'm excited for it. Like I said, I don't think it was really upsets. I think it was just a weekend for drag racing in total that a lot of people were not expecting. You know what I mean? And I think it was more so like people were on the ball, light wise and just tune wise. And I think now
people were on the ball light wise, and we had a dude timeout.
We're not. See, here we go. One person ruins it for the whole bunch. Dude. First off, timeout. Pause. Okay. You're tripping me out with the red glasses and the reddish orange background.
It's not planned.
Like,
but I know. I'm like blending in. I know.
Like the red shirt, the orange background, the red glasses, and you got way too much sun this weekend.
I know. Look, I'm sorry. I did not plan this. Just look at the blue. Just look at the blue of the peak.
Like, man, you need to go and get you need to go get an ice cold towel and put it on your face.
Right. If you are on acid right now, I'm sorry. You are tripping.
Okay, first off, if you are on that and you're watching this show, thank you. We appreciate you. But like, I hope you have like a YouTube section. I hope you're watching this on Facebook and then have YouTube where you can watch something else, because I'd be tripping if I was looking at Lee and all that red he's got going on.
Yes, there's a lot here. There's a lot here for sure. Did not plan that, but hey, at least I've got a nice stay here in Old Town Albuquerque. Found a decent spot. That's where I am landing tonight. Hope doing the show, co-hosting along with you, Slam and Sam, after leaving from Vegas yesterday after testing. A lot of cars were testing. A lot of new people have earned their licenses, especially in the A fuel ranks. We saw some other people attempting to earn their licenses. Still got some more work to do. And yes, there were groups testing that definitely needed to test. And I can tell you, I saw one group, they're still struggling. They've got a lot to figure out, even though they have put a ton of hard work in to get back to the track. And I think it was fitting. The people, the team, the group that won that like never quit award that they give out at the NHRA, it was the DHL Yellow Fellows from Coletta Motorsports. And yes, they earned every bit of it. Keep up the good work, guys.
So since you dove down that road, there's been pictures leaked and posted of maybe a car that was in the winner's circle. And then shortly after winner's circle pictures were taken, there was a seat poured for a certain individual.
Oh yeah.
In this certain car. Do you want to speak a little bit more on that, Lee?
Well, I don't think it's any actual secret that Jonna Dunn has been working on getting her A fuel license, and like she made some hits at Bakersfield earlier this year, if I remember correctly. But yes, they were at Las Vegas, and she did make a few hits, and I think she's still got a little bit more work to do on her license, but progressing, looking better for sure out there. And John Dunn has never been bashful about, we're going to give her an opportunity eventually in the family hot rod to take some laps in the Nitro Funny Car. So, I expect that we're going to have another young lady out there in the fuel ranks, in particular the funny car ranks, before long. I don't know how long the plan is. Maybe it's a 3-year plan. Maybe it's a 5-year plan. Maybe the plans just change. But, yes, Jonna was out there. Ellie, I believe I'm getting it right. Ellie Stafford, if I remember correctly. Nitro Pro Comp winner at March Meet. She earned her license yesterday, and Jasmine Salinas was making some other hits, and again, many other cars were out there testing as well. Always interesting to see testing and what's happening. And there was another individual, a man from Mexico. And like didn't know English, and there was an interpreter involved and things of that nature, actually attempting to learn his A fuel license as well. So a lot of licensing going on in the A fuel ranks. And I will say, I think right now, top alcohol dragster. Look, I know it's technically a sportsman class, but I think in NHRA, it's the class that has the most buzz right now, with people like Tony Stewart winning his first ever national event at a 4-wide. With you have the competitive nature of Randy Meyer Racing and Julie Natus going out there and doubling up and getting a big points lead. But then you got Joey Severance coming in, cutting into it. I mean, there's so many stories. Cody Crone and the McPhillips side of building a brand new car, working it out where Tony can go win. I think there is just a ton of storylines in the top alcohol dragster division.
So I pose this question. So you have Jonna Dunn that's going through it, right? You have Julie Natas. You obviously have Megan Meyer, if she ever wanted to come back, which she's obviously stated that she's not going to do that. Then you have the Salinas family, and you have, one of the Force girls still running. Could we potentially see like a top fuel dragster, all like half female class in the next 5 years? I know, you know what? Sooner than that, in the next 3 years.
Okay.
And I'm going to take a sip of sweet tea.
Posing that question, I will say, I think you probably see Jonna going the dragster route, because there right now isn't a fuel funny car to get that type of training in as of yet. I think in time we're going to have those cars where you will have the rent-a-car type of rides even in the funny car elements. Okay, I think that's one reason why she is doing what she's doing. Get up to speed in that type of car, and I think you're going to see her transition to the nitro funny car. So I don't think we're going to see her in Top Fuel. I don't want to say ever, but I don't think that's the goal. I think the goal is obviously to step in the family hot rod. From what I know, Julie Natus, she's got funny car fever. I know she would take a Top Fuel ride, but I think she's working towards funny car and operating in that world. So I think we've got a young crop of future funny car ladies coming, which I think will be good for the class. But I think we're going to see more ladies in Top Fuel, but half, I think that's going to be a bit much to say. A quarter? I think a quarter is actually going to be pretty easy to reach because we've already got Brittany, Leah, Krista. You're going to throw in Jasmine next year, and you're looking at, 1-2 more. You're basically a quarter of the field. So it's very, very possible. I don't know about half, though, because there does...
Okay, don't get caught up on the half. I'm just,
Yeah, there does seem to be... Like, let's take Megan Meyer, for example, or even Madison Payne. I had her on my show, and she mentioned, politics, money, opportunity. She may very well be fine with the A fuel car in the top alcohol dragster ranks. You've got Megan Meyer, certainly someone I think we thought would make that transition, but she goes into semi-retirement, creates her family. She's like, I'm going to come back and do racing, but I'm going to do it at a completely different series instead of the NHRA and definitely not the top fuel ranks. Rachel Meyer, very similar story. So a lot of things involved that, yes, the natural transition does seem to be, let me go to top fuel. But when you're already running 285 miles per hour and low fives in the quarter a mile, I get it. 330 and 1,000 feet is spectacular, but you're already being pretty much a badass as it is.
Oh, 100%. Now, this also poses the other question. You just said it with Rachel and Megan, right? And with Courtney. Now, Brittany, and this is but I mean, we all know that Brittany's not she's not the youngest one out there. I'm just going to say it like that. And Brittany, I've already apologized, so I'm not. This isn't me taking a step back.
Are you sure
I'm just saying.
Go down this route? I don't know where you're going.
No, I'm going to say it because what happens now if Brittany all of a sudden starts a family, then what? Like, now are we looking at this whole situation again, saying what if, or what's going to happen?
If she wanted to start a family, she has every right to go do that. Come back later if you want to, or not. I mean, that's up to her. The class will move on. There will be ladies in the class, and there will be ladies at the forefront. And I mean, I don't know. I'm not going to speculate on that. The class will be healthy, and there will be ladies in there for sure.
Yeah, and neither am I. I'm just saying, down this traditional road that we've seen when ladies do step away, we haven't seen that many, decide really like, hey, I'm going to step away for a few years and then come back. There's been a few, but traditionally they don't. So I'm just saying, like, are we setting the stage, or are we building a platform for younger ladies to come in and fill these roles that have already been filled?
I could see that, but I don't know. We'll see.
All right. Yeah. And like I said, I'm just asking. All right, let's run through some of these questions here. If anyone, blah, blah, blah. Watching J.R. Todd not qualify was heartbreaking.
Yeah.
After that's, I mean, it's just, and we've talked about it, and I think the one person that says it the best here on this show is that we've seen a couple of times is Justin Ashley. It's right in the wave of NHRA. I mean, it's just one of those things. You have your highs and your lows, and right now, I mean, for that team and what they've been through, it seems like they're in a low right now. But we've all seen these teams bounce back, right?
Yes,
so
yes,
I mean, you just
Coletta guys pulling for you, JR pulling for you. Granted, I will say it's something about our sport I love. You are not guaranteed a spot. Doesn't matter if your name is Force. Doesn't matter if your name is Coletta. Doesn't matter if your name is Garlitz. Doesn't matter if your name is Perdome. Does not matter. That's something about our sport that I do like. Now, that was tough to see. And I'd commend JR. He could have tucked his tail, hidden the trailer, got on the plane early, whatever, went back. No, he actually went in the booth and was a part of the announcing crew with Alan Reinhart. He might have even spent some time in the TV booth. I'm not sure. I didn't see the national broadcast, but he, for his sponsors, for his team, he took an opportunity to get some type of exposure, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, I really thought that was cool, and I'm gonna try and play this in my headphones. Hopefully, you guys can hear this because I want to go to this next. If I know how to spell, I want to go to this next segment that I want to talk to you about. So let me know if you can hear this. Hopefully, you can. Or here, I'll do this. I'll turn this off. You'll hear me.
Cannot hear you.
Can you hear me now, Lee?
I can hear you now.
All right. So here we go. I want to play this, and it's kind of dissecting the shot that was heard around the world, and just kind of break this down. Hold on.
Uh-oh.
Hold on.
Technical difficulties.
No, not technical difficulties. My Bluetooth is on everything.
Folks, stand by. I
We're
think I know where Sam is going.
To you in the pits earlier today, and you took complete blame for what happened in Pomona. There was the drivers' meeting earlier today on the center line violation, the implementation of that rule. Your crew guy just came over to you and shook your hand. How needed was that run you just had?
It's just a run, and I made 5 million of these runs, but it's something that you got to watch. This is a mental game, and it can make you mental. I mean, they've done everything. You got to calm down. You got to calm down. You're overdriving it, and I've always lived on the edge. But bottom line, I went to my guys last night. I said, "Do you believe in me?" Daniel Hood, Fabrizi, all you kids, I believe in you, but do you believe in me? Because if you don't, I need to go home. And it's only one run, but that's why the kid come over. We've always believed in you. Because when that stuff happens, especially when you tie up another driver, that's when, okay, figure this out or get out. And I'm not getting out.
So, like I call that the shot that was heard around the world. But, I mean, in that moment, right, I'm not getting out. I mean, he could have summed that up in a lot more, but in true John Force fashion, he pretty much laid it out there. So for you, what did you take away from that?
Well, this is what we're going to do. We're going to take a break. We're going to go right back, bring Darian. We'll talk about that. Everybody jump into the comment section as well, because let's talk about it.
You're going to divert to the John Force. I mean, he lives, eats, and breathes John Force, and you're going to divert and let him answer the question.
Yeah, we're going to get all the angles. Folks, dive into the comment section as we take a break. Competition Plus Power Hour brought to you by Weldon High Performance. They pump the show, and they'll pump your ride as well. Welcome, Darren Williams Jr. Yes, John Force, Sam, he stated not going nowhere. And I like what Mr. PFF Flyer says. John's got too much at stake to merely ride off into the sunset. Like, it's not time. It is just not time. And I will say, I'll say this. Look at how he drove this weekend. He did not look like the same John in Pomona. He looked like a John 20 years younger, if not younger. He was there at the finals. I'm standing next to Elon Warner, great PR guy, used to work for John Force. He's like, man, who would you put your money on? And I said, well, I want Chad Green to win because I'm a Chad Green fan. I'm pulling for Chad, and they've been doing so well. And after their Pomona, I'd love to see Chad win. But my money, if I'm going to bet, I'm going to put it on John freaking Force because he does something and rises to the occasion. And let me say this as well. I've had a conversation with a multi-time funny car champion, been out there, been slobber knocking along with John Force for many years. And he said, let me tell you something, dude. All these young cats out here, they don't realize you don't mess with that old man. He will jump up and teach you things to this day. He still teaches me things today. John Force, he's the Force for sure.
I don't have anything to say. I'm gonna let the guru, the fan favorite, the man that lives, eats, and sleeps and breathes, John Force. I'm gonna let him answer that question.
Sam, I have other favorite drivers, okay? but no, going back to what Lee said, I second everything that the Monday Morning Racer said. So let's go back to Sunday. So Sunday morning, pre-race ceremonies. Susan Wade, she says, let's go down pre-race ceremonies. Let's talk to Chad Green. So we're talking to Chad Green. John Force walks by, taps Susan Wade and says, I'm not done yet. That's what he says. Just walks right past, says, I'm not done yet. Hyped up. I'm like, whoa, that was a little inspiring, right? And so all the drivers are huddled up, talking, everything like that. John is standing by himself, over in the corner, just getting locked in, zoned in. I'm like, oh, this dude is ready. He is ready to bounce back from Pomona. He's ready to show everybody that he can still drive. And what does he do? Goes all the way to the final round. Man, it was like that. You talk about that final round, right? All the storylines. I know we're talking about John Force, but you talk about all the storylines in the final. You have John Force trying to bounce back from his, from what happened in Pomona, trying to, go from that to a win. You think about Matt Hagan trying to double up after Tony Stewart gets his first win, trying to go back to back, all the pressure with that. I know Matt Hagan will be on the show in just a little bit. And you got Tim Wilkerson trying to get his first win for Skag. And then you got Chad Green trying to get his first win. And Daniel Wilkerson, the crew chief for Chad Green, is the son of Tim Wilkerson. So it's like so many storylines in that final round. But like you said, going back to John, he was locked in. He was zoned in. And man, I'll tell you what, like you said, Lee, he just finds a way to rise to the occasion, prove everybody wrong. He's proven everybody wrong his whole life. And you have to do that once again. This is not new to John. He's lived for proving people wrong. And he did that in Las Vegas. Went to the final round. The icing on the cake would have been to win the race, but final round, we'll take it.
So what was the biggest storyline on that starting line at that moment? What was it? Because that's what everybody wants to know. Like you said, you got 4 different storylines. Everybody's talking about it. But which one was the most impressive? Yeah, which one was the most impressive, and which one was the biggest? Which one captured out of all the nitro fumes and the jet fumes that you swallowed and other fumes that they may have smelled being in Vegas or drank, whichever one you want to look at? Which one was like, if you could pinpoint in that moment with all that horsepower and all that emotion going on, which storyline had the most weight to it?
Shoot, man, that is tough. Because like I said, you have a guy going for his first win. You got John Force trying to get redemption. You have Matt Hagan trying to double up. It's for Tony Stewart Racing. Jesus, that is tough to decide from. Wow. I'm gonna let you go first, Lee. Let me keep
I think in that moment, and we're talking about, when I say moment, pre-stage all across the board is lit and guys are about to roll into stage. That moment, I think it's John Force, because it is John Force and what happened at Pomona and him having a good day and him saying things like, I'm not getting out yet and I'm not done yet, and making the John Force statements that John Force makes and living. Look, John is interesting. He's one of those individuals that he can write out a check with his mouth and his rear end cash it, if you know what I mean. He can do it. And he did it on Sunday. But the biggest storyline, well, it's the one that came to fruition, honestly. A Tony Stewart double up with the driver winning in a McPhillips ride and Matt Hagan getting the win. Matt Hagan now having three wins on the season already. We're
going to talk about that.
Yes.
We'll talk about that.
I think that's the biggest one.
I don't think it is.
That came to light. It's the one that we can't say what if it's done.
No. And see, and that's where I disagree with both of you guys there.
I know
because
you got things tweaking.
I haven't picked yet. I
know, but
I haven't picked yet.
No. Okay, go ahead, Darren. Go ahead. Okay. And I'm not maybe I am twisted, but what do you think the biggest, like I said, pre-stage. The pre-stage bulb is lit for everyone. What is the biggest story?
Man, you cannot go against a guy for going for his first win, but it has to be John Forrest. He's John Forrest. Out of everything that happened in Pomona, getting
Hold
tangled
on.
up with
Hold
JR
on.
Todd, hitting the wall,
Hold
hitting
on.
the blocks in the second session. There was rumors going around of drivers coming over saying he has to get out the car, and then he comes back and goes to the final round. I mean, to bounce back after that, I mean,
I'll put on my
but
bandwagon hat for you.
I'll say
put
this
on my
though.
bandwagon hat.
I'll say that after Tony won, though, he literally, from what I've seen, he went up to Matt and said, "Hey, win this now." That's pressure after your team owner just wins. So, I like what happened though.
How'd it do? I'll put on my bandwagon hat for the rest of the show. Okay, if that's the most impressive one. No, okay. Here, hold on, wait. Maybe that one looks better.
But I'm happy. I'm happy with the outcome that we got, though. When Matt Hagan doubled up with Tony Stewart, I love that storyline. That's amazing. I love that one.
Finally, we have someone in the chat with a little class. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay,
everybody,
at the end of the day,
if you're not out there, make Lipton sweet tea and mix it half and half with lemonade, and I'm telling you, you'll be a better person. The biggest storyline, key word here, pre-stage, is Chad Green and his team. You have to remember, you have a guy going after his first, right? Matt Hagan's done it 3 times just this year. John Force has done it, like he said, I've made that run 10,000 times before, right? Wilkerson in the next lane next to him. We've done this. We've toiled this mountain before. You have someone that in no regards, and this is no shot to them. We talked about this on the show a couple of weeks ago when we had him on. You have a guy who is not supposed to be there. In a 4-wide situation, he's not supposed to be there. This is the easiest way. The 4 wides is the easiest way of survival of the fittest, right? To knock the weakest person off the block and knock these lower teams off. And I'm not saying he's a lower team, but you have someone with a rookie crew chief. You have someone that has not toiled this mountain before, doing it in Vegas in a 4-wide hectic commotion situation, and you have a rookie and you have Chad Green doing this, and we're gonna say the champ. We're gonna say the champ that we say he's supposed to be there. We say he's supposed to do this. He's supposed to do that. No, the biggest storyline is someone that's never done it before, and they continue to show up. And then, if you don't think that's the biggest story, you have a father and son that are on the starting line next to each other trying to do this. Come on.
I'll tell you what, though.
I digress. John Force.
I'll tell you what, though. I'm not saying it'll be an upset, but as far as storyline-wise, what an upset that would have been for Chad Green to get his first win, to upset Matt Hagan, who's trying to double up, and John Force for redemption. That would have been amazing. I would say that.
Yeah.
I don't think it would have been an upset, though.
I mean, for storyline-wise, like, we know Chad Green is a win waiting to happen, but storyline-wise, for, that's what I mean, yeah.
Right. All right.
Jeff Dill's a class act. Love that guy.
Hey,
I just gotta say that.
Jeff's cool. Hey,
Jeff's real cool.
And look, I also got I got the opportunity. I think his dad's just a bit cooler. Bill Deal. Love Bill. He's a cool dude. Okay. Yes, I said that.
All right. Is there I think there's something else we need to talk about too.
Oh, there's
I think
a lot more we
can
can talk about. I mean,
should we talk about the guy who's got I'm really last week he was on, he was towing the line, DRC, but this week I think we're seeing eye to eye. I think he's drinking sweet tea and lemonade mixed, and we're seeing eye to eye. What about the center line rule? Like, what do you guys feel about this? What's your opinions? I have mine, but I'm a grudge racer, so mine don't really matter.
All right, so let's separate what DRC is talking about. He's not just talking about the rule, which we can talk about that. He is talking about the lack of, I'd say, clarity and announcement from the NHRA concerning the rule. Now, I will say this.
Little bit of mention.
Now, I will say this to the people who definitely really need to know, there wasn't any lack of communication. They know. And that's the drivers, that's the crews, that's the team owners. And we got the mention that is, yes, it might not be all that we want, but we got what we needed. The teams need to police themselves. And again, chatting with that world champion multi-time world champion funny car driver, he put it this way. Why did they make this change? Why did they heft up the penalty for crossing the center line, having this violation? Well, the reason for it, he put it this way. He said, look, I want to respect the human being in the other lane who has a mom, a dad, kids, family, people he takes care of. And I don't want to potentially harm them. So I am going to make sure if I'm going anywhere, I'm going to lean towards the wall. But he said over time, people have been seeing the wall as the big nasty, and I've got room to work with over the center line to try to make a pass and make a run. He's like, what they did is they made that wall just a bit more sticky, the center line a bit more sticky to deal with, to make sure you respect what's over there in the other lane. That's what he said.
Well, so it's always been in the past, you can touch the line, you just can't cross it. But now, even if you touch it, that's automatic DQ, fine, all this stuff. Even past 1,000 foot, even if you get past 1,000 foot and you cross the line, it's still a penalty. So I think this just goes to show that it's all about safety. They don't want these guys over driving their cars anymore. So I'm for it. It's going to take a little get used to, because I mean, like I said, it's forever. It's been, you can touch the line, you just can't cross it. But now, if you touch that line, it's automatic DQ. And we saw this weekend, a lot of drivers, they got out of it because they were getting close to that line and they didn't want to, have to deal with those penalties. So it's already coming to play. You've seen a lot of guys already get out of the throttle. So big time move by NHRA. And like DRC said, I didn't know about it till I think Friday afternoon. I had no idea. Friday afternoon, DRC mentioned it in a group chat. And I'm like, wow, it's pretty big. So I have to look into it. But I think it's a good move. It's all about safety. So I can't argue with it.
But in the past, NHRA has put out rules and everyone knew instantly. Yeah. For once, we have a situation where NHRA goes to the people that need to know first, and everybody's like, "Well, why didn't everyone know? Why didn't the world know about it first?" Because let's just say when a certain individual got sent a letter about this or that, and then it was posted to the world to see, it was a big problem, and there was ridicule and criticism about that. So now finally NHRA says, hey, we're going to come to you, the people that need to know. We're going to inbox you guys, or as you modern kids, probably you say it too. They slid into the DMs of the people, you cool cats out there. They slid into the DMs of the people that needed to know first. And then they say, hey, now we're going to, bring it up or slightly mention it. And it's for those people that are out there that are like yourself and myself that want to know about this. Okay, my opinion, I should be able to touch the center line, because if I'm on that pass, let's just say it's that pass to put me in the finals or to win the finals, and I'm on the throttle and I'm moving and driving it. I understand, yes, my car should be in better shape, but if it does get out of whack and I happen to drive it and move it a little bit and I come close, I should be a well enough driver to say, okay, I know my car, I know where I'm at. Now, if I get into that and, bounce it back or whatever, then, hey. So I personally think unless you cross, and you have to cross, then I mean, that's me. I understand the safety aspect of it. Yeah. Now, if you hit a cone or a block, okay, boom, that's obvious. But I think for driver standpoint, you have to know. Now, crossing after the finish line or after but bro, that's like saying, that's like the Florida State baseball, the college kid that got ejected from the game for cheering, after he struck the kid out. And getting ejected from the game. Come on, man. This is after the race. No,
I'm fine with it. I'm fine with it. You should still be under control with your car, even past the finish line, because you're not done operating your car. The race is not the only time you operate your car. You're operating your car from ready line, start line, stage line, finish line to the end line when you make that turn. You're still operating it to make the turn, right? You need to make the turn safely. You need to pay attention who's telling you to come in. No, I'm fine with it. Until it's time to cross and you follow each other and round a turn, I'm fine with it. Keep it in your lane,
So you,
bro.
so
Because
you,
we had someone not keep it in their lane, and it cost the team a whole 2 cars.
okay. So you're running your car, like I just mentioned. You're running it to the end, right? You go to throw your chutes, and your chutes come out, and let's just say your right chute. Let's just say you're in the left lane, right? You got 2 chutes on the car, and the right one takes off and goes that way, and you come across, but you are either 1 behind the person or 2 in control of your car still. I'm in trouble for operational error. Something that something that I can't control. The wind's blowing this way. I got a gust of wind and my car takes me over there. You're gonna penalize me for that? You can write that one to the birds.
Hey, well, football players are penalized for operational error for a hit.
No, they're not. No, they're not.
If you're going to be a professional,
no, they're
you got to
not.
take professional knocks, even from a sanctioning body.
I disagree, because we're gonna see more. All right, you blow up. All right.
No, I mean, Sam, obviously, and Lee, both of you guys have raced. I've never raced before, so I probably have a different perspective on that. But, I think I forget what track it was, but I remember Dale and John had lined up a few years ago, and John had crossed over past the finish line against Dale, and they almost got together. And Dale was pretty animated at the top, and he was pretty pissed about that. And so I can kind of see where, yes, once you get past the finish line, you still should be able to control your car. But like you said, Sam, freak accidents do happen at the top end. So I see both sides of the coin. Just going back to the center line rule as far as touching it and not crossing it, as touching it and still getting DQ'd. I agreed with you, Sam, at first, and I probably still do agree with you. But somebody said to me something cool, not cool, but they said something interesting. They said, "Well, if you hit the wall, it's an automatic DQ. So why isn't it an automatic DQ when you touch the line?" I mean,
if anything, the rule's been simplified, because when we had that issue of the touching but not going over, and like that it had happened, but it hadn't happened in so long, people were like, "What? That's the actual rule? Like, that's the technicality of it?" And now it's simplified. It's simplified.
but I mean, when nitro
How many
cars, you
times
need
have
every
we
bit of real
seen-
estate you need. Every bit of real estate.
How many times have we seen people drive it out to the wall and come across back in the lane because they're in it and they're in it to win it, or they pedal it and the car gets sideways? We've seen it many times. I understand that's the rule, but for someone that has raced where I've seen a car come in front of me, I've seen a car come behind me, I've done it, you don't realize how quick that car can, and this isn't a 8th mile car, and that was back when I was running 6.0s 590s. You don't realize how quick it happens until you're like, oh, I'm there, and then you have to make that decision. These drivers are going hell of a lot faster than I've ever been, and this is happening like that. And that second where you think, hey, I'm on the throttle, hey, I'm going straight, and oh crap, I'm still on the throttle and I'm not straight. But they're still human. I get it. It's rules. We can all agree to disagree, but I'm just, I don't know. I'm a grudge racer. Unless you cross, you didn't cross. If I can see that tire track, and there's enough cameras out in NHRA, I can see that tire track, you didn't cross. JJ the boss, baby. And chase is a race too. I mean, since we're implementing rules, right?
Goodness. Oh, here we go. Wow.
If you leave early on a red light and somebody, hey, I'm just saying.
There's some people, Darren, that just want to watch the world burn.
We're already burning.
I tell you. Well, look, we do have Andy Schmall in the green room.
We're going to ask Andy too.
We can ask Andy, and it would be interesting to hear from him. He is a big time bracket racer, and see what he thinks about it. And he might have a different opinion of it. Now, before we move on, though, we got to talk about it. Some hanging out, some timing out.
Oh,
Josh
Hart.
I digress.
Josh Hart responded too.
I'm going to say this. I am sick and tired of racers saying this phrase: race your own race, and then they want to whine one way or the other. What is it? Is it going to be race your own race, or whine?
No, because if someone takes too long, then they're going to cry. If someone doesn't go in when they want them to go in, they're going to cry. This person takes longer on the tree than that person. Suck it up, Buttercup.
I don't know.
I just say know who you're racing. If that person wants to play funny games, let them play funny games. There's a great phase right now that everyone's using. It's called, blank around and find out. And that's just kind of what happened. Like, yeah, I mean, somebody, was like, hey, let's try this. And it didn't really work out. So,
yep.
Oops.
In the case with like Sean, like, man, look, you're a lever. You are a good driver. Like, why are you even concerned with this? Go stage your stuff and leave everybody at the line like you can do.
You gotta respect Langdon for telling how it is, though. I mean, even though I don't agree with it, but the way he tells it like it is, I can respect that fully.
Yes.
At some point in everyone's life, they've played that game. Everyone plays starting line games. It's no different than me. When my coach would put, and this takes it like way back when I learned how to do it in track. My coach would be like, hey, Sam, you're going to run the 100. I'm not a 100-meter sprinter. Like, put me on the relay, put me in the 2, whatever. I line against some of these kids that I knew was going to tax me. But you know what you do? You get in the blocks, and the first time, you raise your hand, and it throws everybody off, right? And the starter's like, everybody get up. And you wait a little bit longer second time because you could do it twice. You do it again, right? Now all these guys are off their game. Everyone's going to play games up there. Whether you're going to be focused on you, whether you're going to be focused on what everyone else is doing, somebody's got to get the advantage. We heard this last year, right? Was it last year in Pomona where one of our guests that's going to be on tonight and the GOAT, he's playing games. What do you say? These guys are older than me. They're faster than me. They're younger than me. I got to play games. If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying.
Do you guys see Josh Hart's response?
I did see a little bit of his response, and I didn't get to read the article. I read some comments. People were like, Nick hurt or something. I don't know what's going on. I mean, fill us in, Darren. Whoa, Darren. Whoa, man. You are breaking up on us.
Back.
Hang on. I'm gonna remove you. I'm gonna bring you back. Oh boy. Darren, can you hear us?
I can hear you. You hear me?
Yes.
Okay. You can hear me good.
Yes.
Yeah. So basically talked about the neck thing, and just to put it simply like this, he basically said, hey, if I'm the one playing games, I'm not the one who got timed out, though. That's simply what he said. And so I technically, like you said, race your own race. And let's kind of break it down a little bit. So you got Sean Langdon, Josh Hart, Steve Torrence, and Mike Salinas. Mike Salinas and Steve Torrence go in automatically. They're already in. Josh Hart is supposedly hanging people out, and Langdon's the one who gets timed out. Langdon doesn't go. Mike Salinas smokes his tires at the hit. Josh Hart and Steve Torrence are going on down there. They're backpedaling for their lives, trying to get the round win because they don't know what's happening at the start line. They get to the finish line first. Langdon gets out. He's pissed, saying, Josh Hart hangs people out. But like you said, at the end of the day, you have to race your own race. And Alex Laughlin responded as well. Alex Laughlin responded in the comments as well. And actually got into it with Langdon a little bit in the comments as well. It's pretty interesting. Basically,
Screenshot those. Screenshot them and send it in the group chat.
So here's what Alex Laughlin said. Do we have time?
Oh, we got time. Hey, Andy,
Okay.
Just hang on. This is getting good, okay? We'll be right here. We'll talk about it, okay? I see you smiling. Just hang on, man.
Okay, this is per Alex Laughlin. He says, the longer that car runs with the fuel pumps all the way on, the more fuel it burns, obviously, and the lighter the front end of the car gets. This can impact the performance of the car based on weights and balances. As the car leaves the starting line, where's that? That said, if you have 7 seconds to stage the car, then you have the full amount of time as you please. If it's legal in the rule book, it's legal in the rule book. Etiquette is one thing, but this is the competitive sport, and if someone gets beat from a result that's within the rule book, sorry about you. We aren't out there to make friends. We aren't out there to win. We are out there to win. Disclaimer: I haven't read the full story, but responding to the comment about taking a few seconds longer and drivers crying about it. Sean Langdon responds. He says, "Please provide more insight on your expertise." It's Alex Laughlin.
I knew. Yeah, I kind of expected Sean would go like, "Hey, you haven't been in a fuel car long, bro." But I mean, Alex has done a whole lot of drag racing, and he also did it in a class that might have more starting line games than fuel. Remember that?
Well, Lee, Alex responds again. He says, "Okay, stage on time, veteran. LOL. You're crying because Hart hangs people out when in fact you hung 3 other drivers out for the full 7 seconds. I guess it's only bad when you're the victim. Weird. Play stupid games, you win stupid prizes." That's Alex Laughlin and Sean Langdon.
Where is this? We need. Where is this?
I'll have to ask Dave W because he sent it to me. I'll ask him tonight. Yeah.
Like, I'm talking. Like, this is firing from the hip, old cowboy style. Just yeah. Then see, this is what drag racing needs. Why isn't NHRA posting this on social media? That right there needs to be a scrolling time tick somewhere, because you have someone like Alex Laughlin right now that ran Pro Mod, ran Pro Stock, Top Fuel, now Funny Car. He's done go-kart racing, No Prep Kings, and anything else in between. Like, this guy has played more starting line games than tic-tac-toe's been, like at Applebee's. But this is what drag racing needs right there. A young guy that's competitive in the sport and has done multiple things, saying, "Hey, man, play funny games and find out." Like,
all right. All right. So
shots fired.
I think we've covered that one well enough. And it's been dealt with amongst the drivers, and it's out there. People can go see it, go find it. We do have Andy Schmall in the green room, and he is a champion of the Spring Fling Million. He could write us all checks if he wanted to, with all that he won there that night. And kudos to him. He got it done in a door car. So we're going to take a break, folks, right here on the Competition Plus Power Hour, and talk to an esteemed bracket racer who won, I think probably the biggest show that you can win in bracket racing, especially of the big money variety, right after this break.
Competition Products, your source for hardcore engine parts for street, strip, and oval track. Our free catalog is packed with hundreds of product lines from the best-known manufacturers in the performance industry. Lowest prices guaranteed. Free shipping and handling on all orders over $149 in the continental U.S. Need expert advice? Our knowledgeable staff is just a phone call away. Competition Products, race parts sold by racers since 1970.
Andy Schmall, welcome to the Competition Plus Power Hour. Yes, we're going to talk about the win. Yes, we're going to talk about that beautiful Beretta. Yes, we're going to talk about the Spring Fling Million. But starting line games, we're going to start there. What do you think?
Oh, I don't know. I've talked with Langdon a few times. He's a fellow bracket racer, so I got to stick with him. He tried to make a stand, but it didn't quite work out for him. So it's kind of how it goes sometimes. I would like to see him cut the wheel in a Top Fuel car, though. That would be epic.
Yeah, what do you think about that? I had not. So, I did junior dragster, so I understand bracket racing. Did that for many years, and when did this cutting the wheel thing and tripping beams come up? Like, I never saw it before, and I'm the starting line camera guy. There was controversy there, but it's like, why are people doing that? What's going on?
I've seen it a couple times. I can't remember exactly who started the original one, but seeing it on a live feed and seeing somebody roll up there, someone's taking a long time, flicker that stage bulb and start the auto start and give it a few seconds and roll it in. And that way, the guy in the other lane who's not wanting to go in, he's stuck there, and he only has a few seconds compared to the original, 7, 10, whatever it is.
Okay.
That's where it all started, Lee. We all think it started in grudge racing. these starting line games, all these tricks and maneuvers, all started with bracket racers.
Hey, honestly, I'd like to see Sean do that now. Somebody in a top fuel car, that would be cool. Do it. See what happens.
Doing it in a dragster is a little bit easier. I don't think I've ever seen anybody do it in a door car. It'd be impressive if you could get the wheel turned that many revolutions, where in the dragster, you get it halfway,
Right.
maybe a full turn, you got the wheel cranked
Right.
pretty hard. Top fuel car, I don't think has that much action in the steering wheel.
No.
So it would be wild from the NHRA cameras to look in the cockpit and see a dude trying to turn the wheel while he's sitting there in the fuel car with the pre-stage bulb lit.
It would be. It would be.
So Lee was there for the win, for the spring fling. It's a race that I've heard many people up from North Dakota, Minnesota, and the areas, it's on the bucket list to go down to. For you, for this year, obviously walking away, being the number one person. What for you, what does it feel like walking away from there, being in that position, and two, going into the race? What's the difference in feeling and the atmosphere as this continues to grow?
And Andy, before you answer that, that's not I know this is like the first big win, but like you had been deep before, and this is like you getting it done, right?
That's right. I tell people that I think I've lost every round you can lose in the million, and it started up getting better, just a little bit better every year. One of the first millions they had, I think I lost the round before the split, which is a crusher, because you not only do you barely make back your entry, but you were so close to that. You're staging up for $8,000 the round before the split, and it's a lot of pressure that you get used to after it. But starting the morning of the million, I was in it twice. I ran the pro category and then the super pro category. So I'm letting go off the bottom bulb, and then I'm hitting the top bulb with the door cars for most of the way. And so starting the day, the pro cars, bottom bulb guys go first. They're up there. We make our little $50,000 time run, which if you have a perfect run, you throw on $50 in the lanes. You go up there. If you are 000, you run on your number with a zero, they give you 50 grand right there. So that's a fun way to start the million. And then they roll you up for first round, I don't know, around 12 o'clock or so. And you're sitting in the lanes. They bring the cars under the arch in Vegas, the famous arch. And they play a 6-minute video, right? Luke Bogacki, another, awesome bracket racer who's been around forever. He's done just about all you can do. He starts talking about the race, the prestige of it, the feelings you get. There aren't many times where you stage up and you're throwing $2 grand down to enter. It only happens a few times a year, and that's a lot of money compared to what we're normally paying to enter. And so the pressure's on. The stakes are big. There's a big payout, and you try and keep her cool the whole time. Being able to walk away from that as the winner is awesome. Even last year, I lost at 4 cars to Kevin Brannon, who was the winner. Another good guy, good racer. And after that, you think, man, you beat out almost 300 other people. And you think, is that it? Am I ever going to be able to get there again? Because, everything needs to line up. And fortunately, this year it did. And it's awesome.
Sam, is it my turn?
Lee.
Yeah.
It's your turn. I just asked a long question.
Okay, I'm sorry. I was trying to do some things on the back end here. Sorry. Well, Andy, I want to take the time, and let me find the photo. Dude, you did it in a very yellow Beretta. The door car was victorious over the day. So I want to know about the car. I love Berettas and the Oldsmobiles of those days, even the Grand Prix, just beautiful door cars. And you got it done in a banana version. Awesome.
Yeah, the car makes me look good. That's for sure. We call it the banana just because of how yellow it is. It sticks out like a sore thumb. The paint's been on it for almost 30 years. I found there was another guy that messaged me a couple years ago saying, hey, I painted that thing however many years ago. The chassis was redone. Just before we got it. I picked it up in 2016, wired it, plumbed it, got it ready to race. I mean, it was built to be a top sportsman car. I've got smaller big block in it, so I'm only making 700 horse. It goes 580s. Yeah, it works awesome.
Awesome. Very cool. Yeah, it's man, the what would you say is the numbers difference between door cars to dragsters? Is it like 75% dragsters to 25% door cars, something like that? I mean, there was a lot of dragsters there.
There were. I mean, when you have the 30K races there had 700 entries in it. So you're rolling up and racing, and there's people there you've never seen before. That's a nice comment you put up there. That's good. Yeah, so I would say it's pretty close to 50-50. I don't know. They separate the door cars and dragsters up all the way until the ladder at 8 cars. So the whole time we're going through from the door car side, we're racing other door cars. Unless the lane stagger such that, there's not enough door cars. Too many door cars want the left, then the dragsters can pull in the right and you can race them. So I think over the course of the event, I raced one dragster early that I was in the back of the door cars. And then all the way till the final when I ran Kyle. He was the second dragster.
So for you, I mean, we've always talked about it, these big money bracket racing that we're seeing more and more pop up. Does that kind of lead the game for some of, the bracket racers? They want to go and do that versus doing their traditional track stuff? Or is that kind of the new norm, is if you're going to put on a big bracket race, you're going to get the people because of the opportunity to win that cash?
I think the more money you put up, you're going to draw the best of the best. And so from a promoter standpoint, you never know who's going to show up. I mean, you put on a race, you try and do the best you can. Not every race turns into a spring fling 700 car, 30 grander with 300 and something cars in the million. And so it's tough to say from that standpoint. Just because you put up the money doesn't mean people are always going to show up. The atmosphere of the spring fling races, the prizes that they put out. I mean, they even have a kid's Easter egg hunt. I've got a 2 and a 4-year-old who tore that up. The 2-year-old is actually sleeping. She missed it. 4-year-old Riley loved it. So she was Easter egg hunting about, I don't know, second round of the million or something like that. And so the bigger races, I think they draw the better racers. So if you're racing at your local track and you're like, hey, I'm doing well, I won the points, whatever it is, you go, hey, I want to try and up my game. I want to try and do something bigger. And so then you find these races, and the spring fling races, they definitely bring out the best of the best. It's a challenge. Every race we've been there, we've been going there for almost 10 years now. We've been going to some sort of spring fling race out west, and it helps you become a better driver. And if you want to get better, you got to race against people who are better than you. So.
All right, just a couple more questions, Andy. We do got Matt Hagan in the green room, and we'll be rolling to him in just a few moments. So, how much did you actually come away with in the event? Can you clue us in on round figure? How much did the IRS get? Let me ask that.
You don't have them on the show, right?
All spent.
Right. You
all spent.
Yeah, the check says 400,000. That's not the way it goes down historically. There have been a few people who have made waves saying I'm racing for the purse. Whatever's on the flyer, that's what I'm racing for. But it doesn't always happen. And so in this case, I mean, if you made it down to the last 18 cars, that's when they started it. Went 10,000 from there, and you're racing for 10,000 around. 10,000, 20,000, 30,000. You make it to the semis, you get 50. And then in the final, it ends up being 115 and 95. Right. And so it helps everyone. everyone's got a big tab to pay at the end of the race. When you got 18 people left and you're looking at $500,000 between all of you, you go, you know what, let's make everyone have a good day here. And, you know, even after that, staging at 10 grand a round, you know, there aren't many races that I can count that I'm racing for 10 grand total, you know, and now I'm staging up one lap. Hey, if you win, here's another 10, here's another 10, here's another 20. And so it's a feeling like no other, an atmosphere like no other. Talking the split, you know, I'm an engineer, I'm a numbers guy. You walk up there and they have a few scenarios on a piece of paper and you go, yeah, well, that works. Whatever it is, we're good.
Yeah, the pomp and circumstance too. I was impressed that like you as the winner, you get this big limo ride and there's showgirls and you get 2 nights at the South Point in an executive suite. That's all very cool stuff. That for winning such a prestigious race with so many entries, that is well deserved. It's very cool.
Yeah, it's very unique to the $1 million scene. You know, there's only a handful of them. I think 3. You got SFG, you got the Folk Millions in St. Louis this year, and the Flings. And the Flings are the only one you get to ride in a limo. And we actually took the limo through a McDonald's drive-through. It was it was 1:30 in the morning. We had both kids that were up. My 4-year-old was up all day. She had enough. She was running on fumes. We had the limo there to take us to the hotel, and we're like, "Hey, we're all pretty hungry. Can you take us to McDonald's?" And so, yeah, he stuffed the limo through the McDonald's drive-thru. I got a picture of it. It was pretty good.
Well, it doesn't get better than that, taking the limo through McDonald's. But for you, what's next? I mean, I know this is earlier in the season for you, but what is next for you and what's on your schedule?
We live in Idaho, and so we had it snowed today on my way home from work. Even though it was 40 degrees, we were still getting snow. And so we're waiting for that to all clear up, get a little bit warmer. We've got Firebird Raceway in Boise. They got a few races coming up. Maybe we'll head there this weekend, see how it's going. They got a $5,000 race here in May. And then I've got family in the Midwest, a bunch of friends we race with there. One of the guys who's putting the most comments up on the little chat board right now, Brian, I've grown up with him forever. So we're going to head back there, do some racing this summer, Memorial Day through, the 4th, try and hit some bigger races. And then maybe make it
there
out
for the zoo.
What's that?
Will you be in Brainerd for the zoo?
I've been to the zoo, and Fun Me left a while ago. And so I try not to go back there anymore. It's too much.
Come on. Well, Brian, if you see me at the track, I will meet you in the zoo. I'm only 6 hours away. So I think it's like 6 hours away. So
he'll be up there. He owes me a few teas. He's got this tea sponsor hookup, kind of like Twisted Tea. It's a Minnesota brand, and he can't hook me up with any. So I'm still waiting for those.
Brian, I'll probably need a case for me. If Lee shows up, we'll need a case for him. And for sure our next guest, he'll probably want a case of them too for himself.
Yeah, he should be able to confirm it in the comments there.
Perfect.
Well, Andy, look, last question for you. I think it's the most critical of one. Did the starting line camera bother you at the sprint? I'm just curious.
Yeah, I saw the video of Donovan. That was awesome.
Yeah, it was. Hey, look, I, as the starting line camera guy, I mean, a lot of people played to it, like whether it's thumbs up, point at it, wink. He just did whatever he wanted to do, and I'm fine with that. I think it shows emotion. It is just interesting. Hey, I made 00 shit show, so I've got my little moment of honor. But wanted to make y'all look good and cool because it was such a big race, and it's just cool to get a glimpse inside your door car and see what you're doing.
Yeah, I saw you come up, I think, first round of the million. You hopped in the back of that 4-door car and did a burnout. I told you, hey, you could hop in mine next if you wanted to.
Yes.
I was waiting, but you never showed up. I had a little bit of room in there. You could have got the camera. But rolling up there first round, I actually didn't notice it until I was watching the live feed later. And I was like, wow, they really rolled the camera in there, but I got these helmet blinders on. So, you were there, but I couldn't see a thing. So I didn't even notice you.
There we go.
I'd have given you a thumbs up though if I
There
saw
we
you.
go.
If you got
There we go.
in the windshield, then I would have caught you.
Cool deal. Well, man, look, congrats. And how many other flings this year? You going to catch any of the other ones?
They're running Galot.
Yep.
What is it? Next weekend, short amount of time. They got 2 others. One in Ohio, and then Bristol, I believe. I'm not sure. Still up in the air on whether or not we're going to make any of those. We got kids starting school in September, so that's a tough time for us to travel, especially when National Trail is, I think, 1,800 miles for us.
Okay.
And so to do that on a weekend's kind of tough. Kind of see how the year plays out. So.
Cool. Well, Andy, look, thank you for your time. And again, congratulations and send a donation.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate it. One thing I want to mention.
Go ahead.
What kind of donation you guys looking for? now you know what the split is. I was
right.
racing for the whole check. I had a lot for you guys, but sorry, now it's tied up in the race car now. But no, a couple of companies that support what we do, support our racing. Fastronics wiring components available on Amazon. Good stuff. We've got it all in our cars. Digital delay. They supply dialing boards, delay boxes. They do all that stuff. Grid stuff. Kid Performance out of Idaho to build our motors. This is a badass piece that's in there right now. I hope it lasts forever. Cross my fingers. We got probably 600 runs on it. Still going strong. B&L Trailers out of Minnesota, part of the Minnesota Mafia. You heard in the million. And then GNS Dyno Chassis, also out of Minnesota. They're also in the Minnesota Mafia. They weren't in the million, but you got to look out for those guys. So appreciate you having me on the show.
Thank you, Andy. Take care, man.
You too.
Sam, when you win that much money with that many entries, you've got to be like a peak high performer.
You do. And then you got to get pumped up.
That's right. Look, folks, after this break, Matt Hagan.
If you want to take your vehicle's performance to new heights, you got to give it P. Like our original equipment technology, antifreeze and coolant. Our formulas match the vehicle manufacturer's technology requirements so that we have the perfect match for every vehicle. That's one reason why Peak is among the fastest growing brands of coolant in America. We work harder to earn the trust of people like you every day.
Matt Hagan, welcome to the Competition Plus Power Hour. Dude, 3 wins already in 2023. Can't get much better.
It's been a really good start to the season, man. I mean, very blessed, obviously. But, the one thing about it with these funny cars, you got to stay humble. I mean, I've won like 2 in a row to start the season off and then you pull it out of the trailer and then we'll go down the racetrack, So the biggest thing with it is, man, we just got to keep doing what we're doing. We got a great team around us and, our guys are doing a great job, man. They're putting a great race car underneath me and, I'm getting to drive the hell out of that thing, man. It's just a lot of fun to do it. You know what I mean? When you're sitting in a car and it can, turn a wind light on every round you sit in there and win the race. It's a pretty cool feeling.
So for you, I mean, we all saw it on the replay and the people that were there at the race when the boss man comes and says, "Hey, let's both win this thing." How much pressure did you feel already strapped into that car? And then he looks at you and says that. Did that add any more to what was already, like we talked about at the beginning of the show, a huge storyline?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you want to win for Tony, man. He's like one of those guys that he's a good dude, man. He's a hell of a wheelman. He can drive about anything that he sits in. And, so watching him win and, him crawling up under the car and being happy for him and stuff like that pumped me up even more. I mean, there's not so much but pressure. I mean, pressure's always there. I think there's no way around these races and how much money these sponsors spend per race to keep us in these rides. That's the biggest thing for me. I mean, what it costs to run one of these fuel cars, you can buy a small home somewhere, and as far as each race, and so I don't take that lightly. I always put pressure on myself, and nobody does great with pressure. I mean, if they say they do, they're full of it. But anyway, it's just one of those things where, you have to learn to rise to the occasion and step up and have good light and keep it in the groove and learn to kind of like get in that zone, I guess is what they call it, and for me, I really pride myself on, being able to rise to the occasion for my team and cut good lights and do what we need to so that I'm not the weak link on the deal, and it's just kind of, it's incredible because, you have that team and those group of guys, and you're doing everything you can to make sure that they, it's their bread and butter and their bonus money and all that kind of stuff. So you never want to be the one, that doesn't get it done for them. So for me, there's always pressure. I mean, and so just to see Tony win, I wanted it for myself just because I knew if he won, and I won, I'd be making USA Today, So it was one of those things where, you just want it because it's cool, you know what I mean? And he's a good dude, and it was such an incredible experience and something I'll remember forever,
I think something else that's cool with your short time with Tony Stewart Racing and the Nitro edition of it, you've been able to have some brands come on your car that have not flown their colors in NHRA drag racing and perform well for them, like Smithfield and now Haas Automation. I mean, Haas Automation is on the F1 side and has won in the NASCAR side, and now you're getting wins for them on the NHRA side. So what's it like to give a brand that is accustomed to winning its first win somewhere new?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the crossover is huge that Tony Stewart brings to the table. I mean, it's something that NHRA has been needing for a long time, and and I think obviously not sliding John Force by any means, but we've been riding John Force's coattails forever with NHRA, and it's because he is the GOAT. He's won 16 world championships, but man, we got a new face and a new brand, and someone to kind of bring new sponsors over for, and I just really hope NHRA, kind of rallies behind that because this guy's, I mean, he's amazing. He loves the sport and he's having fun doing it. And, in his interview the other day, he was just like, what do you think people are going to say that you're over here more than the NASCAR side of stuff? And he's like, I don't care, man. He's like, I can control my life and I'm having fun. And he's like, this is where I want to be. And this is what we're doing. And it's awesome to see the genuine, look on his face when he's happy, and you can tell he's just really, really, truly enjoying himself. And this is a guy that can get on a jet and go anywhere he wants to and be anywhere he wants to with all the other stuff that he has going on, and he chooses to be in the NHRA. So, like I said, I think this is a new guy that's an opportunity for NHRA to really highlight and really, kind of campaign around it. And I just hope they take advantage of that.
For sure.
So you talked about it, Matt, and you brought it back up. But John Force saying, "I'm not done yet," like that whole interview that Amanda did, and everything that's gone on. I mean, what do you think? The pressure is from someone that's very competitive with him. You guys haven't seen eye to eye on some things, and then there's other times where you see yourself and John, chit chat about different things or going back and forth. But for someone like John that's not given up, that could have easily been like, what, I've done what I needed to do, and still continues to go. For you seeing that, what do you think? What motivation does that give to you?
Well, I think like obviously I have a lot of respect for John. I mean, he's been out there forever, man, and doing it. And I think it comes down to John have to make a personal choice with himself. You know what I mean? Like, going back and looking through the last couple of years and how much stuff have I run over, how many walls have I hit, how many people have I crashed into, and check some of that stuff off and compare it to some of these other competitive drivers, and then making a competitive or a personal decision of like, can I still handle this race car? Can I still do this? And if everything's going great, it's great. But when it goes bad, am I really on top of it? But that's a personal choice. NHRA is not going to tell him to step out of the car, and no one else over here is either. It's up to him. But I think that, there comes a point in time in anybody's career where you have to consider, what the options are and what you're going to do. And, it really up to him, man. And, it was the first time that I ever, read YouTube comments after the video, and people were crucifying John. I mean, most people, keyboard warriors come there and defend him like crazy, but it was pretty sad to read all this stuff. You know what I mean? And don't get me wrong. I mean, there's always going to be keyboard warriors, and anytime I've ever run John for a championship and different things like that, you don't even look at the internet because there's so much hate if you just say anything negative about John. But John's a good dude, man. Like he's one of those guys that he wants you to like him. And if there's something wrong, you got to come over and figure it out and, figure out why you're upset with him and apologize, whether he wants to or not, just because he wants everything to run smooth. And so, in those comments and all those people said, there's no one who's going to be harder on John than John already is for the stuff that's happened here lately. And it's one of those deals, like I said, it's a personal thing, man. I mean, you as a man, that is competitive like that, kind of just stepping back and looking at the big picture and is like, can I still do this? You know what I mean? Of course he can still drive the car, there's no doubt about that. But when things get really hairy, is he making the best decisions and different things like that? So it's anybody can tell anybody anything. Someone can tell me step how to ride tomorrow, but at the end of the day, I still got some gas left in the tank. You know what I mean? So, it's just, like I said, it's tough to watch sometimes because I do have so much respect for John, but you're also in the lane beside of him. And, some of that stuff goes through your head too, man. I mean, he about ran over me in Chicago a couple of years back and threw the parachute to my face. But, it's one of those things where it is what it is. We line them up and we put our helmet on and you do what you do. You know what I mean? So if I had an issue against racing him, I wouldn't line up beside him, but I enjoyed competition and, you hope that he has it together and keeps it going,
To segue, Drag Racing Central wants to know your opinion on the new center line rule in the NHRA.
I think it's just kind of a way for NHRA to get some more money out of these teams. They're making it a little bit harder for us to drive these cars because they're raising the body up even higher now. So there's more air under the car. So, there's a lot of guys that are struggling keeping it in the center line. I mean, keeping it in the groove. And so what happens with that? The reason for that I've been told is that we're tying these bodies down now so that when we explode, they don't go everywhere. But then I guess the air being underneath that or whatever is supposed to help with some of the shrapnel and carnage that we leave behind. I don't know. All I know is that when you raise the nose of these things, it creates a kite like that underneath that body, and it takes downforce off of the front wheels. So we're already up a couple inches from where we used to be. So that takes away drivability. And then, obviously they want to put a fine on crossing or touching the center line now. So, I mean, we have some issue with it. I think it's something that me and my crew chief, Dickie Venables, we're going to go to pro and talk with a lot of other drivers as well. And you just go through the process of the chain of command and, and see how it goes. You can't just bark orders out there. No, we don't like this. There's obviously a process to go through, but it's tough because when you make them harder to drive, there's going to be, as you can see this year already, there's a lot of people, having a hard time keeping them in their lanes, and so it is what it is. That's the rules. It's their sandbox. We're playing in it, and we'll just we'll see what pro can come up with to help some of these drivers out, get the wheels down and keep the nose on the ground and make them more drivable.
Oh, all right. Sorry. I had to poke you there, Lee, just so make sure you were still awake after, that first comment that Matt said there. Don't like it, but hey, I'm all on that. And Matt, and I want to ask you this question because Lee and I we went back and forth on this. Crossing after the 1,000-foot. You've probably been in this situation before, but how many times have you been in a situation where possibly a chute comes out wrong, or you've been in it too long and you're pushing it and the car does veer one way or another after you get off of the quote unquote glued surface? Is that something that you also think will play into contingents, or do you think it happens less than what we think, or is that something that you're, even worried about?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, when they've been trying to slow these funny cars and top fuelers down, they put rev limiters on them, and when we hit the rev limiter, there's very few runs that we make that it doesn't put cylinders out on the big end. one or two somewhere here and there. So that being said, we're always having to be on top of it, and especially in a funny car on the big end, because the last couple 100 feet, it's usually putting a cylinder out. You're usually trying to yard it back in, and then you're trying to get the chutes out and everything else and get the car slowed down. So that is big. I mean, it's huge because, for the sanctioning body, the rules that we have to slow our cars down, is a rev limiter and different things like that they added a couple years ago. And when they added that, we started putting cylinders out down there, and it just, so you end up having your hands full. I guess I can count very few times in a funny car in the last couple of years that it doesn't drop a hole down there somewhere.
You made an interesting comment in your press conference with the media after the win. And we've had Dickie on before, and we need to get him on again and talk about this. But from you and working with him for as long as you have, you made mention that, like, he's really glad, I'll put it that way, that he can develop stuff now and it doesn't have to go to any other teams. It stays with TSR. And you've been vocal that y'all have made changes to the chassis. You've even lost weight to adjust for those changes to the chassis. So what is the state of mind of your crew chief with the atmosphere that is over at TSR, that he can kind of freely move forward, it seems like, and attempt to do things to make you all run better?
Yeah, obviously our rules are really tight. I think that's why you have so many cars now that are so competitive. There's only, a couple manufacturers. You have, Alan Johnson Performance Engineering, you have DSR, and then, Forson, they build all their own stuff. But, as far as, big parts and pieces and stuff, and cylinder heads and stuff like that. So and our rules are so tight now that, the years of people dominating back, like when Force did, when it was kind of like wide open and spend what you can spend and innovate however you want to innovate, those days are gone. So I don't ever think that you're going to have just pure domination like there used to be, because everybody's buying the same parts and pieces now. And our rules are so tight, you can't really do a whole lot to them. But I think that's why you have some of these kind of, underfunded teams and guys that show up, handful of races here and there, still run so well with us and still very, very competitive with us, because, everybody's got the same stuff and it's just rubbing on the combination, and there's not a lot of innovation that can happen. But when we do find that stuff that we can innovate on and we make changes to that will help us, I mean, you have to keep those. And unfortunately at DSR, I had 3 other teammates and it all had a trickle effect, and so, you got it for a few races or until someone could build it again for the other team. And then they had it, you know what I mean? And it just it's disheartening sometimes, you know what I mean, to have that many teammates, and when I say teammates, we're under one umbrella, but we all have different sponsors that we have to keep happy. And you always want to win for yourself and your team and that kind of stuff. So different atmosphere over here at TSR, man. And, Tony is super competitive and he's like, whatever it takes. And, we're definitely, you have to be mindful of the spin, because, there's not just an open checkbook, but if it makes sense, Tony's like, heck yeah, let's do it. Let's figure it out, So it's nice to know that whatever we do have won't circulate around and, or be sold somewhere or something like that. So I think Dickie is in a headspace of, he's really happy. This is the most I've seen him laid back and enjoying his job I've ever seen him, and he's just a different guy, man. Like, there's no pressure on him, and and I think that's why the car is running so good, and there's nobody barking down his, breathing down his back or barking at him for anything. And, he just feels like, all right, man, we're up here, we're doing what we do, and he's showing up to work and we're having a good time, and the guys are showing up. They're excited. They're getting paid well. Tony brings an atmosphere of just kind of like, you want to be there. You want to show up. You want to come to work. Nobody's bitching about, oh man, well, I didn't get paid this, or I'm going to get cut this, or, did we get bonus for this weekend? So it's just like, the guys are happy, man. And they're just, when you have a team that's showing up every morning with a smile on their face and they're ready to go to work and they're wrenching and you've been able to keep them together. I mean, keeping people together is so important. I mean, your team and being able to have that longevity of those guys is huge. I mean, it's probably saved me from having so many wrecks and so many explosions, and because my guys have found stuff on the car before it ever went up there, and they really do their job well. And a couple years back, when we won the championship, I had 3 guys come to me and said, "Hey, look, dude, we love you to death, but we can't do this. We can't afford to live, you know." And you know, it just I was like, man, they're so important to me. I said, you know, if I win the championship, I'll give you my bonus check. You know what I mean? Like you guys, like I can't, you know, I don't know what we're gonna get or how much it'll be or da 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 da, but it's yours to split amongst our team if we get it. And our guys were like, all right, cool, that's cool, that's enough to keep us on, you know, and we'll figure it out. And, you know, like we just needed something, you know, and so to do that and to keep my guys, you know, it was huge for me. We won the championship and I gave them a bonus, but it allowed me to keep the same group of guys I have and not have to cycle in 3 new guys. And I still have those guys on the team. And, you know, it means your team is everything. And without the group that you put around you, you're only as successful as the people that you put around you.
I can't say that's how I met you or got, you know, to get to know you one-on-one. My buddy Josh, who moved back to North Dakota, but he did work for you for, I think it was 2 of those years. Um, and, you know, that's how I got to know you. But, and you said it, you're doing things to improve the team, be with the team and keep the guys around you. But you also made a huge, you know, decision for yourself. I mean, everyone knows Matt Hagan. And if you don't, then obviously, you know, you haven't been around the sport long enough, but you're one of the biggest guys that are out there. And you made a decision to say, you know what, for my team, for the betterment of all of us, I'm going to take a personal decision to, you know, drop a couple LBs. For you being one of the heaviest guys, you know, and people can say what they want. I mean, if I could have guns like you do, then, you know, I would, if I could have that physique, but obviously God didn't bless me like that. But for you, you know, making that decision and being, you know, known to be one of the bigger guys that fits in one of these funny cars, what was that decision like? And just, you know, what is that process for you, someone to keep down the weight?
Yeah, you know, it's tough, man. I'm 40 years old. I'm not a spring chicken by any means. You know, my old man gets on me all the time. He's like, you should be leaner and meaner and in the gym more. And I was like, Dad, I'm an old man. You know what I mean? This stuff don't fall off the way it used to, you know. And you know, I like to eat, man. I just enjoy my life. You know, I'm a steak and potatoes kind of guy, you know, always have been. And everything I've ever done in my life playing stick and ball all the way up through college has been bigger, faster, stronger, you know. So you have that mentality in the gym no matter how much you want to just kind of go in there and kind of push some lightweight around it comes back to, all right, well, add another plate on there, you know what I mean, that kind of thing. So for me to really drop a little bit over 20 pounds that I have now was big, you know what I mean. And you look at pictures too, man. Like what kills me is that, you know, we pull so many G-force on a run and I pull my helmet off and my face looks like it's the size of a hot air water balloon, you know, but it's just like the blood and everything else in my head. And then as I take winter circle pictures, like all the water starts to come out of my face, you know. And but you know, you look at those pictures, you're like, damn, you know, I got a big old pumpkin head, you know. So you got to do something about this. But you know, honestly, it's just a personal choice, you know. I mean, my guys are always on me about weight. There's never been a year that I haven't had them guys, you know, say, hey man, we need you down a few more pounds or whatever, you know. But I've also never had a crew chief come to me and said, hey man, we're out of power, you know what I mean. So if I was in a naturally aspirated car, I get it, you know what I mean. Like you got what you got, but man, like we never ever apply all the power that we have in these race cars, and it's just a matter of getting them to stick on the racetrack. So you know, I think that's why I'm able to get away for being so big and being able to drive a funny car, is that we just have so much power still available. And you know, it just works. You know what I mean? I've set a lot of world records and won a lot of races and championships, and you know, heavier, thinner, you know, it just doesn't seem to really matter. But it makes my guys feel better and they're more excited about it, that we're closer to weight, or we can do something that's a performance advantage of adding stuff to the race car, and I can take some weight away from that by losing. But it's always a challenge, man. There's no, when it comes to weight, you know, your body kind of has a set point of where it wants to be, and you can do that for a while, and you see that's how everybody diets and they lose weight and then they gain it back and da 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 da. So it's always a struggle, you know. So for me, it's just something that I'm watching, I'm focused on, and I'm trying to do it every day. I'm in the gym and every morning, and you know, knock my workout out and start my day and kind of go from there. But yeah, it's just, you know, for me, I'm massive to do what we do, you know, but we get away with it, or we're obviously, you know, if weight was such a huge factor, we wouldn't have won 3 out of the 4 races, I guess, so far.
Well, Matt, look, last question for you, and along the same vein as the losing weight. question. I'm slimming down myself. I'm like down 50 pounds, but also trying to attempt to bulk up. And there was a day and time that Matt was not Hulk Hagan, and you have built your body up. What is it that you enjoy, and how did you do it? Supplements, free weights, machine. What did you do, and what do you like to do in the process to get to the size and shape that you are, man?
Yeah, the hardest thing I think that most people don't realize is more nutrition than it is the weight room. Weight room is probably like 10% of it, but getting your body weight in protein and watching your carbohydrates and different things like that. But you have to have carbohydrates to build it, and you're going to have some extra weight if you're trying to bulk up. I mean, you have to have those surplus calories. There's no way to be super shredded and and put on muscle too. So it's kind of like you have to pick. You're like, well, I'm gonna carry some extra calories for a little while and then try to trim down, towards season or whatever. But for me, I just kind of obviously started getting in more meals and more protein and creatine and, just all these amino acids for me was big. It really, those are the building blocks of muscle and taking that kind of stuff. And so it's one of those things where you kind of, everybody's different. You have to figure it out kind of yourself a little bit, and someone can tell you all this stuff, but you got to listen to your body and figure out what works for you. And for me, it was just more of, I thought I was, I went to a guy and I was like, man, I'm eating this. He's like, dude, we're going to feed you. He's like, you're not eating nearly enough and your metabolism is slow because you're pretty much, eating 2 or 3 meals a day and your body thinks it's starving. And he started feeding me 4, 5, 6 times a day. And I started to actually lose weight and put on muscle by doing that because I was feeding my body more. So it's opposite of what some people think a lot of times as far as like, you got to starve yourself to lose weight, So, it's just manipulating calories and macros and stuff like that. And I'm never going to try to step on stage. I just want to look good, feel good, and be able to pull my shirt off when I go to the beach sometimes. You know what I mean? So other than that, it's just living life, man.
Cool. Well, Matt, look, thank you for your time. And we know that you and Dickie and that whole entire TSR funny car is going to keep rolling this year. We definitely look forward to the battle in the countdown. Thanks for being on the Power Hour.
Thanks, bro. Y'all take care. Thanks for having me on the show. And let's do this again if we can win again. Hopefully come back on.
Thank you, Matt.
Thanks, guys.
A video with Slam and Sam and Matt Hagan working out together will be dropping by the end of this year.
So you're going to be picking up his plates for him one by one.
What are you trying to say? You saying I can't keep up?
I couldn't.
This is exactly why, Lee, I wear big baggy sweatshirts on the show now, because I just don't want you to really see, the massive gains that I've achieved since the last time you saw me.
Okay. Hey, since the last time you saw me, you'd be shocked.
See, it's been too long, Lee.
It's been a while. It has been a while.
It was December.
It was PRI. That's right. You got to get the track, dude.
Yeah, I need to. But I'd say honestly, since then, I've probably put on 20 pounds since PRI.
Okay, cool.
So
I'm down.
Let's see what PF Flyer said. Yeah, you're probably doing keto though.
It's a modified keto, but I'm doing keto and in the gym. I'm bulking up.
Now, okay, see. Why does it always got to go to bench press? Because I don't like my bench press. Like, if I ever need to lay on my back and like push up 900 pounds, that's a problem.
Bench press is the standard.
Oh, okay. That's all right. But, hey, workout video, Matt Hagan, Slam and Sam. By the end of this race season.
You know what? Before he'll be working out with you. He'll be lifting you around. That's what'll be going on.
If he can curl 180 pounds like that, see, I'm letting you guys know where I'm at. If he can, So, just saying, I was 160 at PRI.
Okay. So. Well, Sam, look, always a joy to be on the show with you. I think we had 2 great guests with Andy Schmall and also Matt Hagan, and a good little chat along with Darren with everything going on in the world of drag racing. We could continue to chat throughout the night, but we're going to stop it right here, ladies and gentlemen. Hit the like button, hit the share button. Be sure to be right back here Tuesday night. And if I'm not mistaken, Thursday night, I do want to throw out that I did talk with Rich McPhillips. Okay, so that's McPhillips Racing, the team that propelled Tony Stewart to a win. Going to have him on Between the Slicks and get that team perspective chat on getting Tony Stewart his first ever NHRA national event victory. Looking forward to that. Sam, what about you? Close it out, man.
Right now, I'm just kind of getting back in the groove of things. Like I said, been focusing on me. You got to do that. Make sure you take care of your mental health, clarity, and everything in between there. But like always, guys, like, comment, subscribe. Thank you to you guys that are in the comment section, chit-chatting it up with us, the Monday Morning Racer, Matt Hagan, Andy, and Darren, the editor-in-chief, and everything else he has underneath his title. I'm Slammin' Sam. Till next time, y'all, this is Competition Plus Power Hour, signing out. Peace.